On suspicion of possessing a loaded firearm and possession of a high-capacity magazine. He's been released on $5,000 bail. Jill Nato, Fox News.
That man, 49-year-old Them Miller, telling Fox News Digital he is a Trump supporter and had no intention of killing the former president. At a rally in Arizona Sunday, former President Trump said the Biden-Harris administration could have stopped the influx of migrants across the U.S. southern border with an executive order.
I said to the Border Patrollers right just a minute ago, all the president has to do, all she would have had to do is wake up the president at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Say, Joe, get your ass down to the Oval Office and sign this.
Vice President Kamala Harris in North Carolina Sunday discussing the federal government's response to Hurricane Helene.
As we navigate storms that have inflicted so much harm across our country, and to all those who have loved ones who have been affected by Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene, Doug and I, my husband, are holding all of you close in our hearts and in our prayers.
She accused Republicans of spreading misinformation about disaster relief. America's listening to Fox News.
The world of business moves fast. Stay on top of it with the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday. Fox Business reporters, anchors, and hosts will bring you beneath the stock market speculation and boardroom drama to tell you about the biggest business stories of today. Whether you're on Main Street or Wall Street, Fox Business is invested in you.
Listen to the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday at foxbusinesspodcasts.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
It is time to take the quiz.
5 days a week, it's 5 questions in less than 5 minutes. We ask people on the streets of New York City to play along. Let's see how you do.
Including the pre-Super Bowl era, what NFL franchise has won the most NFL championships?
I'm going to say the Cowboys.
Good guess. I would say the Packers.
How'd you do? Exactly. These get tougher, so hang on.
Make sure you take the quiz every weekday at thequiz.fox. Thank you for taking the quiz.
President Biden paid a trip to Florida Sunday to get a first-hand look at damage caused by Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson with the latest.
He was not greeted by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who was absent on the ramp when President Biden left Air Force One. Also absent Senator Marco Rubio, but here's who was there. Florida Senator Rick Scott, Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, who, of course, represents some of these hardest-hit areas outside of Tampa. The president announcing today a new more than $600 million initiative to help power companies. They want to bury some of these lines. President Biden aboard Marine One, touring the devastation overhead, and that includes flying over Tampa and the Tampa Bay Rays baseball stadium, which had its roof ripped off. Remember, that's where they were going to house some of the first responders.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says he is on good terms with the president, but has not accepted calls from Vice President Kamala Harris, claiming she has political motives. He says she's trying to insert herself in the process. Israel pushing into southern Lebanon in response to ongoing rocket attacks from Iran-backed Lebanese terror group Hezbollah.
5 Hezbollah rockets fired from Lebanon. No reports of injuries. So far this day, Israel says 115 rockets have been shot. More Israeli units entered today. More towns facing evacuation. Israel claims to have killed militants, found weapons. 25 Israeli soldiers were said to be injured there. And there are issues between the UN peacekeeping forces in southern Lebanon and Israel. Israeli tanks reportedly smashed in a UN base gate. 5 UN soldiers have been injured in the last few days.
Fox's Greg Palkot, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu demanding the UN peacekeeping troops evacuate from southern Lebanon. And the Pentagon is announcing it's going to send a missile defense system to Israel to help against Iran, and also it will deploy 100 troops to help operate it. I'm Sue Guzman. This is Fox News.
Choice Broadcasting and the Micronesia Mall want to thank you for strolling our neighborhood during our 2024 Home and Lifestyle Expo. Huge thank you to our sponsors: Guam Energy Office, Guam Power Authority, Sherwin-Williams, The Door Store, Hoffaday Realty, Security Title, Coast 360, Primerica, PFC, Cybertech, Alpha Insurers, Blue Pacific Realty, and financial consultant Ron Ching Batumana, Platinum Properties. Philippine Airlines, and Goodwin Travel and Tour. We hope you enjoyed your time learning more about lifestyle and homes here on Guam. Stay tuned for our next one.
Fox Facts.
No matter where we go, it seems QR codes are everywhere. Supermarkets, restaurants, banks, and even cemeteries? Visit a person's final resting place and you might encounter a small QR code affixed to their headstone. These codes are usually engraved on metal plaques to withstand harsh weather. They serve as a digital gateway accessible to anyone, whether paying respects or simply intrigued by the names and/or dates on the memorial stone. Once scanned, the QR code directs visitors to a website where they can read stories, view photos, or watch videos that celebrate the life of the deceased. Families can also create a virtual guest book on this platform, enabling visitors to leave heartfelt notes and memories. QR codes can be developed by a funeral home and included on memorial service handouts or simply ordered on Amazon. Now, keeping a loved one's legacy alive is just a scan away on a smartphone. Matt Murphy, Fox News.
Hold on. Interest rates are coming down. And that includes residential loans whose rates are the lowest in over a year. If you've been putting off refinancing your home or purchasing a home, wait no longer. And there's our home equity or HELOC program, which gives you money without touching your existing home loan at the lowest rate in over a year. So come see us at Bank Pacific, please, where we've been making home loans for 70 years. Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply. Member FDIC.
It is now Veterans with Benefits with your host, Anthony Tyrone.
Half a day, everyone. Welcome back. As Jose said, this is Veterans with Benefits. We're here on the point at 93.3. It appears I will be flying solo today. Miss Corina is going to be over at the All Hands Veterans Delegate and Candidate Briefing, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Before we do that, we'll get started by, we'll thank our sponsors. Usually we start off with 11Z's. They're right behind us here at the station, and they give us 11% off for military and veterans. So if you have some time in this area, get back there and try some of the good pastries that they have, some paninis, and then they also have all the different coffees and drinks that you might want to enjoy back there. So 11Z's behind us here at the station. We also want to thank our sponsor, Eco Surfaces. We want to thank Ambrose Inc., Zawilu.org. There's also the American Legion and Hebzibah Family Medical Clinic. So those are our sponsors, and we wanted to thank them for having us, supporting us on our show here. I also wanted to say hello to Knox and Aaliyah, and then we got to go over some things here, I think. Let's see. I usually don't do this part, but I guess I'll go ahead. So tip of the day, I guess it is. We wanted to talk about getting out there and voting. So with that in mind, it's important that, we exercise that right. And many times as service members, the opportunities for us to do some of those things kind of come a bit different. We may be stationed at different locations, but that's something that we have to do. So more importantly, exercise your right and get out there and vote. I believe today was the start of early voting down at the Westin.
Yes, sir.
So be sure you take advantage of that for those of you that may be traveling or for those of you that might have other things happening in your busy schedules. But be sure to take advantage of that. Okay. Let me go over some of the things that we got on our list. I know this Saturday we were at the clinic empowering veterans, so I know it was another full house. So many of these veterans just needed access to a computer, a little guidance on some questions about how they would take care of that, and we went ahead and provided that. Of course, thank you to Dr. Coma for allowing the veterans to use the services there at his clinic. And then for all our folks that were there to assist, Miss Edith Mesa, of course, Dee Ferris, myself, Miss Corina. I hope I didn't miss anybody else. But yeah, we're usually there Saturdays and Wednesdays. If you're not in our chat group, you want to get on there and you'll learn a little bit more about that. We have the Wounded Warrior Ride. So these are shirts that are made, and they have some designs on them, and they have different organizations that help put this together. HMI happens to be one of those organizations. And then what we do is we come up with a shirt design, and the proceeds from the sales of the shirt end up going to the organizations that put some time and effort into getting the shirt and the Wounded Warrior Ride together. Also for that ride, which is usually done on the day, on Veterans Day, right after, before, during, and right after the Veterans Day celebration. So if you haven't seen the design of the shirt, feel free to reach out and we'll send you a design. If you're on our chat group, you will be able to take a look and see what that design is. It's a pretty nice one. It's a little bit more in the blue color with some camouflage design on it. And of course, we have the flag and Laddie Stone's Guam Seal. It's your usual Wounded Warrior shirt that really puts a design on being from Guam. So, okay, so we also have West Care, the Salute the Troops Wave. That's going to be on November 8th at 1600 to 1800. It's going to be at the Tamuning intersection on Route 1, the Parkside across ITC building. So if any of you want any more information on that, you can reach out to West Care, reach out to Adam Polino. You know, this is a good opportunity for folks to get out there and, you know, join us to support our veterans is what it says there. West Care is a nonprofit group out here that helps support our veterans. They joined us at the symposium. I think they're going to have some brochures to put out at tonight's event as well. And they're very active on the housing, homelessness, and joblessness part of our veterans. They help provide services to help our veterans in those two areas. So look out for that. We also posted the upcoming 2.5% cost of living allowance. It will be reflected in the December 31st, 2024 pay. So if you're receiving VA benefits, looks like you will be getting a 2.5% COLA increase. If you are also receiving Social Security benefits, you will be also getting a 2.5% increase for that as well. Let's see, what do we got? The HMI Veterans Gala is going to be on November 10th, 2024. It's going to start at 1800. It's going to be at Dusatani Guam Resort. Tickets are $100. It's HMI presents the second annual Veterans Gala, Legacy of Service, honoring our heroes. So if you haven't yet reached out, your POCs are Corina Balesta at 682-7631, Chief Mary Uggan at 687-4190. So if you feel like getting those tickets, I would advise you to seek out those numbers. The attire is going to be island formal, so it's not going to be your coat and tie event. So I think most of our veterans and their families would much rather not get all dressed up for these types of events. We had a good time last year with quite a few veterans that kind of came a little late to the show, or when they came there, they were late at purchasing, and we didn't have any more seats. They were all sold out. So get your tickets early and get out there, support our veterans. All those tickets that are being purchased are to help our veterans. And by the way, we're winding down on our year of the veteran. So what better way for you out there to help a veteran? Bring him to a gala. You know, if you are a business, if you are an elected official that might be, looking at a way to help our veterans, buy a table, go invite these veterans and have a seat with them and talk to them. See if, you can truly start understanding what's going on. So we invite everyone to come out. Let's have a good time with that. We also have our 5K. That's coming up. Hold on, before I say something wrong, let me look what we got here. Our 5K should be for the November. Hold on, I don't want to get it wrong. Anyway, I'll get the actual dates on that. It's in here somewhere. Anyway, I want to say it's the 2nd of November, and it's going to be down at the Chamorro Village. And if you need more details on that, we can get it to you. We have Wreaths Across America is the other one. So Wreaths Across America will be in December. And what we will be doing with that one is you can purchase wreaths for your loved ones down at the cemetery. So if you reach out to HMI is one of the folks that will be having the wreaths available. And as a fundraiser again, if you purchase a wreath through HMI gets some funding to continue the good work that we do to help our veterans. We just got off our boot camp last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we had a pretty packed house again up there at Sinahanya. So we had a lot of veterans come out to take advantage of some of the education that we're providing. It's interesting that our numbers have not dwindled, which tells us that there's still quite a few veterans that need an understanding and need some help navigating that process. So we'll have another one coming up in December. It's going to be down in Yamatic. So if you're from down south, feel free to start registering. If you haven't seen it, we'll be putting it out on the chat group. So get on our chat groups or reach out to any of the numbers that you have for your HMI contacts, or reach out to the Yamatic Mayor's office and see what information you can get to get yourself registered for that event. I recently put out a message on one of our chat groups over the weekend. So we are coming up on the holiday season. Anytime we hit this time of year, we have to remember that it's a time where people go on vacation or they go spend time for the holidays with their family, or they just do something so that, they can celebrate the holiday seasons. So the reason I say that is, just like everybody else, the VA has employees that need to go on a holiday vacation. So that would already, that would burden the system that's already having a hard time. So be sure you understand that if you're putting your claims in, there could be some lag time, or you might be having a little bit of a tough time there with that particular claim, but you still want to get it in nonetheless, because the sooner you get it in, the sooner they'll get a hold of it, even if they're shorthanded, but that'll still take care of getting them the things that they're going to need for working on your claim. So that's not that they're going to stop. It just means that there's going to be less people working on it, and it just takes a little longer. And then it speeds back up once the holiday seasons are over, a little bit latter part of January into February, the system starts moving again. Now, there could be some changes. Of course, we are going to be on the election. The election is upon us for the president. The presidential election is upon us. So with that in mind, there could be a change. Is that correct, Jose?
Say that again?
The presidential election is upon us.
Yes.
So we could see a change.
I am not running this year, sir.
Oh, very good. Well, so at least we have that out of the way. But
we're going to be starting in about another 10 minutes. So if you can.
That's on the other side. You're good.
Yeah, okay. So yeah. So they're going to be, what do you call it? We might see some changes. So, well, actually, we are going to see changes because we will get a new president because President Biden is not going to be there. So whatever those changes might be, if Kamala wins, that means that there'll still be some changes because it's a new president, right? She might have her pick for the Department of Veterans Affairs. If that happens, there'll be adjustments that need to be made. If Donald Trump wins, obviously there's going to be a whole new slate of people coming in because usually the administrations change them pretty drastically when it's a different party that takes over, a different different candidate that comes in. So because Kamala and Joe Biden are of the same real group or same team rather, I don't think they're just going to replace everybody. But hey, who knows? She's going to be the president, then she'll make some decisions of who it is that she wants to do whatever it is they want to do. So, so one of the things that we're waiting on right now is, so my time is about to be, my 30 minutes of fame is about to be over. So they let me do this all on my own. I don't believe them. Now, right now, Miss Karina is up at the mall, and she will be one of the moderators along with Lee Weber, who is a U.S. Navy veteran. Miss Karina is a U.S. Air Force veteran. Now, the all-hands veteran delegate and candidate briefing. This will be at the Micronesia Mall. It's going to be in one of the rooms, be right next door to Beyond the Box. And they'll be starting here in about 7 minutes. That's sponsored by the Micronesian Mall, American Legion, The Point, HMI, and Wounded Warrior. There will be brochures there from Guam Legal Services, West Care, Wounded Warrior, and all the other notable veterans organizations were reached out to and requested to provide some brochures. So if you want to get some information about that, that'll be coming up here shortly. So in about 7 or 6 minutes now, we will have a little switch over here, and then we'll be broadcasting live the veteran delegate candidate briefing. So let's see, what else do we got here? We usually do our regular spiel. We also invite all our veterans to be sure to get their intent to file in, get their claims done, put their medical records together. The intent to file is a good placeholder for you. The next thing is reaching out to any organization that's able to assist you with some knowledge on how to file your claim. Yes, you can file your claim on your own. If you don't know how to, you can go to va.gov. There's a video. If you haven't seen it, we've pushed that video out in our chat groups. If you need that chat group information, be sure to let us know, and we could get it to you. You have your friendly neighborhood VSOs down at the Aspen office, and you also have one over at VFW. So reach out to these folks if you feel the need, and get your claims taken care of. So that's about it for me in the meantime. Jose, do we got anything else, or are we still?
We're there. We're almost there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So keep going.
Keep going.
All right. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Can you talk about the wreaths? What's the program called again?
Wreaths Across America?
Wreaths Across America.
Yeah. Okay.
After a wreath is purchased, does the wreath go to the purchaser, or does it get distributed randomly?
So it kind of depends. So the last information that I heard, so like it usually comes down here to the cemetery. And then from there, it looks like when they organized it last year, those that had wreaths were given like 30 minutes to go put it there. So those that show up are given like 30 minutes to go do it on their own. And then after that, they now do they allow the remaining wreaths to go out and be placed.
So they're all going to be there at the Veterans Cemetery?
Yes.
And they'll be distributed there.
Yes. Now there's also some veterans are able to or some family members are able to purchase the wreaths at the cemetery, and then they might be able to pick it up from there and take it somewhere else if their loved one is not there.
Got it.
Okay.
Very good.
So, and this is also possible for them to purchase a wreath at a location outside of Guam.
And what's that deadline again?
Oh gosh, the deadline for that
soon, yeah.
I don't have. I know that's going to happen in December, but
okay.
I know we'll be pushing it out.
Because they come here by boat, right?
Yeah, they come by container. It's usually I think Matson did it last year. We had a little hiccup last year that went into our favor. It looked like the Hawaii wreaths came to Guam, and the Guam wreaths went to Hawaii. So we had a huge number of wreaths that they pretty much put out there for everyone at the cemetery.
So we're going to go to a real quick break, and then when we return, we're going to go right into all hands, the veteran delegate and candidate briefing with your host, Lee Weber, who is a veteran United States Marine Corps men, and Corinna Ballista, veteran of the United States Air Force.
Yes. All right.
All right. Thank you, Anthony.
Okay, what's BP Smart Pay?
So it uses your smartphone to pay when shopping at the grocery store, mall, or wherever they accept contactless payments.
Restaurants too?
Yep.
Okay, how?
It's easy. Go to your wallet on your smartphone and enter your Bank Pacific Visa debit card, and presto, your smartphone is now Smart Pay ready.
BP Smart Pay. I like it.
Bank Pacific. Brothers put branches, we place roots for over 70 years. Member FDIC.
Kill. Fake pills often contain fentanyl. It only takes 2 milligrams of fentanyl, equivalent to a few grains of salt, to be lethal. Fake pills are often sold on social media platforms, making them available to anyone with a smartphone.
Talk early and often to youth about the dangers of misusing prescription drugs and the lethal dangers of counterfeit drugs laced with fentanyl.
Stay informed, stay safe. One pill can kill.
Officially starting. Thank you for coming. This is being streamed live. So we are on The Point 93.3. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Everyone grab their seat. Bob has all of the sequence of events flyers. Thank you for coming. Yes. No. Someone asked if we're on CNN. We are not on CNN. Oh, excuse me. Say again? Oh, we're on the air now, guys. So we're on the air in The Point. Everyone's asking where we're streaming. Go to The Point's Facebook. You can watch it there. HMI Guam on YouTube and online on The Point GU.
This is
We're briefly going to go over the rules.
Yeah.
We're going over the rules. Thank you for coming. This is sponsored by HMI. We're a veteran nonprofit organization. We're veterans just like you. Our table over here, D. D can answer any questions. We have boot camps coming up. Next to D, we have WestCare.
Careful.
WestCare, they have some programs. And then thank you to our sponsors, the Mall, The Point, and Wounded Warrior Project. And am I missing anyone? Oh, HMI. Okay, we're going to go over the rules real quick. So, of course, respect and civility. Candidates must maintain a respectful tone throughout the forum. Interruptions are not allowed, especially from the crowd. Can we keep it shh? Time limits. Strict adherence to the time limits are outlined in the agenda. 3.5 minutes for opening statements, 2.5 minutes per response. Your timekeepers, can you guys raise your hands for the candidates so they see you? Can you show them what the signs will look like? Thank you. Audience questions. If you guys haven't received a card, raise your hand. And we have Sue. Can you raise your hand? Everyone, Sue is right back there. She has a clipboard for you if you can write your questions for Sue. And then she'll go around and collect them. So what this is, everyone kept asking us what this is when we started advertising this. The All Hands Veteran Briefing is a forum designed to educate Guam veterans about the candidates' policies and plans, improving the services available to them. The primary goal of this forum is to help veterans assess the candidates' knowledge and commitment to supporting veterans on Guam. And then I'm your moderator, Karina Balesta, U.S. Air Force veteran. And then we have Lee Weber, U.S. Navy veteran. And now we will start. Tossing of the coin. Who has the coin? You have a coin? Who has a coin? Tossing of the coin. Bob, do you have the coin? Someone. Someone has the coin. Anybody? Yay. Here you go, Lee. Thank you. So, you're going to call it?
Yeah, I was going to say ladies before gentlemen. Okay, we've got heads and tails. Tails it is. Tails and tails it is. The lady goes first, or chooses.
Okay.
All right. We have a microphone? Can you guys hear me? There we go. All right, so half a day, and thank you so much to all of the veterans and family and folks that are concerned about veterans issues, all those who showed up here today, and all of those that are listening in on the radio and on YouTube. Veterans, you know, we always say thank you for your service, and sometimes that's not enough, but we always have to make sure we say it because it is so true, because that service is so important to ensuring that we have the freedoms and the liberties that all of us enjoy today. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I am the proud daughter of an Air Force veteran. He fought in Korean War, got his knee crushed and had to have it sort of wired back together. But my dad served in the Air Force in the Korean War. My husband served in Bosnia in the U.S. Army, and I'm very proud of his service. My son-in-law served in Iraq, and I'm very proud of his service. 3 combat veterans, every single generation in my family. So it's very, very personal to me. I know the sacrifices because for all of us family members, we live with people who served our country. And I know family members have a very special place in their hearts. But in addition to that, I also served as a Department of Defense civilian in Iraq. I put on the body armor. I went to every corner of Iraq. I spent 2 years on the ground over the course of 8 years. And during that time, I witnessed myself the great sacrifices of our men and women in uniform. Now, there were days when there were rockets coming into the embassy and I had to roll off my cot onto the floor. Your heart beats out of your chest. And that sound when it came down, I lost one of my staff to one of those rockets, and I had to make that phone call. But that was nothing compared to what the vets had to face. They had to live underneath their tractors, underneath their armored vehicles, and had to be out in the fight. And that changed me forever when I saw that. But the most important role I think that I have here today is as a daughter of Guam. Because the entire time that I've been on Guam, I've known so many veterans. And now I am talking to more and more veterans. And these issues that I hear every single day just break my heart. When someone tries to get enough money together because at the last minute they have to get a veteran out to Hawaii and they weren't approved for the travel benefit and they weren't able to get it in time and they pass away and I have to go to that funeral. Or when a veteran doesn't get the type of behavioral health or mental health support that they need and they end up committing suicide, and I have to go to that funeral. And a lot of these services that are provided to veterans on the mainland, if they don't have that service within 20 miles, I mean, the worst thing that would happen is they could drive to another state. If you're in Tennessee, you can go to Kentucky. In Guam, we cannot do that. It is geographical discrimination, because we are not able to do that. It's thousands of miles away, and it's a 7-hour plane flight. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and I really want to talk about that. I want to talk about the toolbox that I bring to this. I want to talk about the plan that I have for doing something about it, not just talking about it. And I want to assure you that as you listen to me, just know that if you send me into this battle, I will make sure that I fight for every single veteran on Guam, in our region, and their families. Thank you so much.
Good evening, and I want to say thank you for coming out tonight. My fellow veterans, thank you for taking your time out tonight. If I look around the audience, I know many of you because I'm a veteran myself. We served together. I see my former Colonel, Chief of Staff, Tom Etta here. And as a young lieutenant, he gave me great directions. I see my Sergeant Major over here as when he was retired. He taught me some dance lessons that made me do some good moves. I see a lot of my friends here. And I want to share with you my experience to let you know I've been through it. As a veteran, we understand. We know what sweat, blood, and tears is. That experience together can never divide us. We understand what it means by no man left behind. And we will continue to do that. I have my fellow veteran there, Senator Tony Etta, Army vet. We work together closely in the Guam legislature. This is the experience that you want in Congress. So I can send that message representing Guam through the Capitol. You know that there are almost 86 members of Congress that are veterans too. We all speak the same language. And about 17 in Senate, we all speak the same language. We have each other's back. We're experiencing a situation right now in Indo-PACOM area. The threat has never been greater. But because I'm on certain committees, because I have good relationships in these committees, we have made a difference in a short amount of time. Billions of dollars are coming into the island of Guam, which raises additional taxes that make a difference in our Department of Education, makes a difference in our hospital, makes a difference for our services, our infrastructure as well. But it's just not about that. It's most importantly, if we want new soldiers to come out and join every branch of service that they can, they have to know in their heart that veterans are well taken care of. That's a struggle. There's things we can do, but it's not going to happen overnight. Longevity makes a difference in Congress. Trust makes a difference in Congress. Just like when you get in your platoon and you know your squad leader. Just like when you get in your platoon and you know your lieutenant. You have to trust. And that's my presence in D.C. to make that happen. I just want to take the last few seconds to remember somebody I hope that is awarded the Medal of Honor. There are 3 veterans. We never had a Medal of Honor recipient for Guam. We have in the Defense Act something that says they shall. So I'm going to remember, of the 3, the 2 have passed. And take a moment of silence to remember them as I go my final seconds. Sergeant Major Juan Baza and Specialist 4 Joseph Paris. Please remember them in your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you to the candidates. Question 1. How will you, who's this question going to?
We did.
Yes, so
Ginger won.
she's, yes. Okay, so question for you, Ginger. How will you use your congressional office to assist individual veterans with VA claims, military records, and access to benefits? 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. So in the Congress, there is an organization called the Congressional Liaison Service that is something that the Veterans Administration provides to all of the congressional offices. So one of the things that I will commit to every single veteran is that when I set up my constituent services office in my congressional office, I will ensure, number 1, that every single request will get answered within 48 hours. No matter what, despite the time differences. And then in addition to that, those things that cannot be answered immediately, we'll respond in 48 hours and we will make sure that we do the follow-up until we have that secured. But the thing that's important to think about too is not just the immediate responses to those who ask. The true question that we have is how are we going to provide better services to every single veteran on Guam, in the CNMI, and throughout the region, including the Federated States. And how do we do that? We get a regional office on Guam. Today, every one of the 50 states has a regional center for veterans benefits. There is 1 territory that has it, and there's 1 foreign country that has a regional center. Guam does not. That, plain and simple, is geographic discrimination. Did you know next year they're going to be building a small center, well, not a small office, in the CNMI, and they're going to be reporting to Guam? That sounds a lot to me like we need to be a regional center for veteran services. We cannot just get in a car and drive to Hawaii. The thousands of dollars it takes to go there becomes millions of dollars wasted in airfare and delays and time changes that our veterans have to deal with because the Hawaii office is not able to take care of it. When you call them here, you get sent to Colorado. We know from the General Accountability Office, GAO, they said that you're not getting your claims handled in a timely fashion because we're 25% worse because we can't go face to face and talk to somebody. So I am going to fight to make sure that we get a regional center on Guam. That is what we deserve. It makes sense. There are budget neutral ways to do it. And you know what? I'm tired of blaming the veterans for not signing up and using that as the excuse why we can't have a regional center. We can. 38 USC, that's the law. It says the Secretary of VA has the discretion to set up a regional veterans center, and that is what I am going to fight to do so every individual veteran on Guam and everyone from the FAS and the CNMI can come here and get that service here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ginger.
Well, it's not what I will be doing. It's what I am doing. Our constituents here on Guam, we opened our doors right away. we address the veterans' issues. You know, our number one priority on constituents, the one that comes in the most, the one that's mostly on the phone, are vets. Because they have the passion and knowing what they need for the people of Guam, for the veterans. Because we are the highest in per capita if enlisted in the continent U.S., in the United States of America. And we continue to recruit new folks. And that's why you folks want these veterans' issues to be addressed. We address them for you. I can see in the audience the people that we have helped in this in our office, our constituents. And we dedicated just one or more persons to assist in veterans' issues. Some don't even have a DD-214. But we are doing that for them every day, and there's a lot more we can get done. We're open. We're not closing. Come on in. We won't refuse anyone. Thank you.
Question number 2. What are the main challenges facing Guam veterans in accessing VA health services, and how will you address these challenges? Ginger?
So you can just read the GAO report to get sort of a high-level view, but we already know what the challenges are. The first is there is not comprehensive health care for our veterans. I was talking to a veteran today, a Guam veteran. He lives in the States, and you know what he said to me? There are so many Guam veterans that live in the States, not because they want to be away from their families, their kids, their grandkids, because they can't get the medical services that they need right here on Guam. We need to address that. The perfect time to do it is now. We couldn't have done it 20 years ago, but now we have this incredible opportunity because we are the center of the Indo-Pacific planning. We are the tip of the spear. Did you know that the Indo-Pacific Command is looking at building a major regional healthcare capability, and they are starting to do that now. They started last year. And do you know where they're building it? They're not building it in Hawaii. They are building it in Australia. Do you know why? When you read the whole plan for it, they say because Hawaii is too far away. Well, if Hawaii is too far away for our active duty service members who are going to be in the Indo-Pacific region, you know what I say? Hawaii is too far away to send our veterans to go get their health care. We need that health care here. It's the perfect time to work with the Indo-Pacific Command to talk about dual use. And I'm not just talking like doing the easy steps with an MOU between the Naval Hospital and Indo-PACOM. I'm talking about getting DoD to work to expand the capabilities of the Naval Hospital, doing two things at once. It creates a war reserve capacity, which Indo-PACOM needs and they can always access. But in the meantime, it means they bring more doctors, they bring more units, they bring more nurses, and they have a standing capability that can be utilized by our veterans. They won't be able to do everything, but they can do a lot more than they're currently doing. And I think we need to aim higher. It's not just, I mean, it's great that we're getting a couple of extra parking spaces in front of the CBOC, but we need to do more for our veterans. We need to fight for you like you fought for us. And I believe with all the tools that we have at our disposal that we can do this. I am absolutely convinced that we can. So we need to do that for our veterans to ensure that more care is available here. The Philippines office needs to be reauthorized. It's going to expire in September of next year. We can also talk about negotiating with them to provide additional services in our region so we can service our veterans, the ones from the CNMI and the ones from the freely associated states. Thank you.
Hello? Oh, there, sorry. Thank you, Ginger. Jim, you're on.
Thank you. Since I've been back, I've worked closely with the Senate. I've worked with them since I got into office. I'm in the 35th and 36th Guam legislature. I work with these people. I continue to work with them as well as your Congress member. I testified on a resolution that they wanted a regional office. Absolutely. I'm in favor of that. And I also added that Department of Defense and the Veterans Affairs are also have an agreement where Department of Defense provides their land to Department of Veterans Affairs to build what they need, the regional center, the medical center. This is all in the works. It's all part of the plan. But you know what they need? Wherever you build these things, they need numbers. They actuarially have to show how this calculates in dollars and cents, and numbers is important. Our main challenge is to get folks registered at CBOC for VHA, VBA as well. It's very important. You just can't file a claim. You must also register. How in the world will they know where we're at? And it is possible, and that's what we will continue to do in the 119th Congress. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Or but okay.
Yeah. I believe that the rules give us a 1 minute
Yes.
response. Okay.
Yes.
I'd like to respond once again. 38 USC, read it. It says a regional office can be set up at the discretion of the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. There is no mention of numbers. And if you read the GAO report, you know what it says? It says the numbers are junk. The numbers that they're using now to be able to calculate how many people on Guam need to be served, the GAO, not me, says that the way that they're calculating those numbers is junk. I submit to you that I am going to stop blaming the veterans for not signing up and using that as the excuse why we cannot have a regional office. You know what happened? Congressman Khalili Sablan and Congressman Mike Nicholas put in a provision. It's in the law. It created an advisory committee for the outlying islands. That is a part of the law. They're going to be putting together data, and we can use that to get the background in order to create a revenue-neutral solution that will get a regional center here on Guam. Thank you.
Thank you, Ginger. Okay, thank you. Question number 3. What specific legislative initiatives will you prioritize to enhance veteran support and care on Guam? I think it's back to you, Ginger. Yes.
I believe so. Thank you. So committee assignments, I think it's really important to be on armed services. It's a non-starter. We've got to be on armed services. That has the most impact for the people of Guam. I'm also firmly committed to be a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee if I am able to go to the Congress, because that is a committee that understands all of the issues in our region. And as we are looking at the legislation which created the Compacts of Free Association, that falls under the Foreign Affairs Committee. And there are actually veterans provisions where the COFA agreement mandated that the VA provide health care services to FAS residents. And we can leverage that because obviously they're not going to be able to build one there. And we can use that legislation to help bring that here and create a stronger reason to have both benefits and health care regional centers here on Guam. But in addition to that, I've talked to Mark Takano. We are fully expecting that the House of Representatives is going to turn blue. Every indication is it's going Democrat, and that is good for Guam because the Democratic Party really does a lot for our island. And Mark Takano would then become the chairperson. I've already spoken to him about these issues, about the need to get a regional center for health care and for benefits here on Guam, and we're already discussing that. But it's not just the members of Congress. You know, Washington is a lot bigger, and sometimes when the Congress is dysfunctional, and I will let you know the Congress is very dysfunctional right now. We need other solutions. So one of those solutions is go to the Office of Management and Budget, OMB, at the White House, because that is where the budgets are created. That is where you can put in requests and talk to the Veterans Administration and figure out how we can do a budget-neutral solution that will be able to shift some of that money that's being wasted on airfare, shift some of that money that's going to Hawaii, and pull it to Guam to have those services available here. In addition, there are think tanks all across Washington, CSIS, GAO, Congressional Research Service. I have friends in so many of those places because those are places that I've worked. I will utilize all of them. And then on top of that, you know another way to get Congress to do something when they won't do it? You talk to the media. I have done this. I have friends in the Washington Post, friends in the New York Times. We know this. Carlos Taitano did that to get things for Guam. He got the media to cover it. And when the media covers something, it pushes the Congress, and they actually find those solutions and they make it happen. Just a few of the things in the toolbox that I hope to use to support my ideas to get this done for the people of Guam. Thank you.
Thank you, Ginger. Congressman?
Thank you. So I'm a member of the House Armed Services. I fought to get into that committee. I'm a good friend of the chairman. He's come to Guam. We've had field, we saw the grounds, we went around after Memorial as well. Very helpful. I'm a member of the Natural Resources Committee. which oversees Department of Interior, which we have oversight on. That is our negotiation element for all these other agencies under the White House. I'm a member already. Fortunately, I'm also a member of the Foreign Affairs. As a new member in Congress, I have 3 committees that I had to fight for to get, but they recognized me and they got me here too. We've had committee hearings here on COFA. We had committee hearings in DC as well. I'm also a member of the Foreign Legion here. I'm a veteran. We speak together, we work really hard together, and we got a lot of good things coming down in the pipeline. And you just don't start from zero and start all over again. This is about relationships. This is about building trust. This is about continuing your efforts, because it's not going to happen just like that when you're competing for every place around the nation for the same bucket of limited cash. But Guam is important. I've gotten the delegates out here. I've gotten the hearings out here, and there's so much they knew now than they knew then, and they're willing to listen. We had $300 million coming for the glass breakwater for its repairs. We are one storm away from that breakwater to collapse. If that happens, our price of goods would drastically increase, because you have to unload a ship way out there and see where it's hopefully calm. How is that going to work? It's not. But that's only half of the amount of money that is coming on in, because of the relationships that we have, because they know the dedications of the people of Guam, because they know our struggles, because I believe in the island. I grew up here. I love Guam. I love my veterans, and I will fight to the finish to ensure that we get things done. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Did you want to rebut? Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to say a few quick things. The first thing was Foreign Affairs, good committee to be on. I will point out that I'm very happy that you joined it after I brought it up in the debate that we first had in front of the Guam Women's Chamber. The second thing I'll bring up is I am very grateful that you brought out a delegation to Guam to hear all of us plea for compact impact money. I will only point out that after that delegation left, they voted against us, and we did not get the compact impact money, and we lost $300 million that Guam really sorely needs. And those are 2 things that I think just wanted to clear up for the record. Thank you very much.
I can make that announcement.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you both. Did you have any rebuts before we go to audience questions? Okay, so these are questions from the audience. If you haven't... Oh, okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Foreign Affairs position was vacated. I had to compete against senior members of Congress. I had to have the relationship for them to trust me. I worked on that for months since I knew it was vacated. There's no credit to given to anybody else except for the chairman and those that have elected me to become a member of that board. And I can stay on that board as well. 2 A committees, that's top-notch committees. As for COFA, that was lost in the 117th Congress. That's when they decided out with the old, in with the new, which the prior congressman agreed to. But Governor Lou Langaro and myself, Jesse Alec as well, had that hearing in Congress and fought. We fought for it. We got other things. We got CFO, that's fine. But we got a hell of a lot of money in addition to that, too. And that's up to the government of Guam administration to figure out what's the best way to use it. Don't be mistaken. I fought hard for this. Thank you.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the decision's made to keep progressing through, so we're going to audience questions right now rather than take a few minutes break. Here's the first audience question. In 2015, the Guam Veterans Affairs Office projected that the Veterans Cemetery will reach capacity by about the year 2030. To maintain the integrity of a single cemetery, it's imperative that proactive measures be taken to acquire additional acreage from contiguous lots for the expansion of the current footprint of the Guam Veterans Cemetery. Question: will you commit to introducing legislation into the U.S. Congress that would authorize the transfer of a portion of Lot Apra Harbor Reservation B7, consisting of approximately 5 acres, to the government of Guam for the purpose of meeting the future eastward expansion requirements of the Veterans Cemetery. Second question, will you commit to using the capacity of your office to assist the GVAO in securing grants from the National Cemetery Administration to fund the expansion of those efforts? And this third section of the question, please elaborate on why you think this would be an important undertaking. Ginger?
Thank you for the question. Absolutely, I will commit to that because that is the most sacred ground. I stood on that ground. I was planting flags. I brought my grandson with me to show him what it means to pay respect to our veterans and to the families that are laid to rest there. That is a really critically important sacred ground, and we do need to make sure that it is there for our future generations. So absolutely, I will commit to that. When it comes to grants, not only do I commit to pursue future grants for that cemetery organization, I believe grants are something that we can do a lot more for the people of Guam and for our veterans specifically. So for example, HMI, great organization. They are doing so much work right now to help veterans across our island to be able to understand some of these complex rules and regulations and to help them get the benefits that they need. And one of the things that HMI runs on is grants. So if you go to my platform, which is on gingercruise.com, I have an actual plank in the platform where I am committing to make sure that we create what is called a grant center of excellence, because there is a way to get federal funding to put together an organization that will have individuals with the kind of training needed to help every single veteran organization on this island come up with the best possible grant applications to make sure that they're able to follow up, to help them with some of the paperwork and the responses so that they can successfully manage those grants. Because do you know how many millions of dollars are left on the table? Why is it that we're always tapping into our own veteran community to come up with donations to try and help our other vets? It breaks my heart. I go to these fundraisers and they're raising it $20 at a time or $10 at a time when there are millions of dollars that are available through grants. But the problem that Guam has is we're not, sometimes it's spotty. Some are great at applying for grants and other people have problems because we're not all professional grant writers. So I want to start a professional grant center of excellence that will help every single veteran organization that wants to go after these grants, federal government grants, private sector grants, regional grants. There are millions of dollars out there, and I want to help you to get the money so that you can expand the work that you are doing and you can do even more for the veterans of Guam. Thank you.
Congressman, you're next.
Thank you. As a vet myself, I could possibly be buried there. But I learned a lot since I was a legislator in the 35th and 36th Guam legislature. I helped the former directors at those veterans spots to bush cut, to water blast, to paint. I heard the conditions and I saw the conditions of the tombstones. I planted the flags. I continue to go there for every veteran activity there is because that's a place of honor. We're having it rebuilt. You can see the conditions of the chapel there. That's being redone. The money is there to get redone. Will the property is necessary? Absolutely. It's already identified and it shall be done. They're not going to let any veteran go not taken care of. I'm personal friends with Mike Bose, the current chairman of the Veterans Affairs. He's been to Guam. He's seen that facility. He wants to do what's right. We are the forward edge, and it's important that the nation, the people of Guam, care for our veterans, our fallen veterans. If that's disgraced, how does our current service members feel? Place that in honor. You show the people you're there. You work hard. And you do right. Can it do better? Absolutely. And I continue to work with Joe San Augustine, the current director, a Marine, a veteran. We can do a lot. Grants? Absolutely. I assist with the grants. I assist with grants with every agency that asks for my help. I let them know I can help. Because when you put that congressional letter to say, this is important, however hard they work, whether it be DYA, GPD, GFT, Guam Veterans Affairs, GMH, whoever. But she's worked closely with the administration. You work closely with the directors, Guam Customs Authority, Guam Police Department, and you put that letter on, it moves it up the power really fast because they cannot object. There's a lot of things in the pipeline. I'm so anxious to get it going again. We've made great accomplishments, and I can do a lot more. Make my shoes have a hole in it. I don't care. But I really want to work hard for the people of Guam. I got friends here that are veterans. We served, and we will continue to serve our nation. Thank you.
Is KUSG.
Thank you, Congressman.
93.3 FM.
Jojo, did you want to reply?
104.3
Okay.
HD3.
We're going on to the next question. These questions from the crowd are tough. They're longer than the ones we have prepared. Okay. Question number 2. Inadequate data collection is an obstacle for effective access to health care and resource allocation. In addition to the often cited discrepancy in the number of Guam veterans, there are numerous other data shortfalls that need to be addressed, such as enumeration of Guam veterans accessing specialty care in Hawaii is not captured. Instead, what is collected is an aggregate number at Honolulu where service is provided. This data, if inadequately captured, would further support the call for a local VA care facility. So, second part of that question, eligibility for beneficiary travel. In FY 2022, VA officials said that 59% of veterans in Guam and 56% in CNMI were not eligible for beneficiary travel to and from a VA care facility. Third part, timeliness data for walk-ins and follow-up appointments. Utilization and timeliness of care data can profile utilization and timelessness of care. The Veterans Health Administration says the data can be generated, but guidance on appropriate use of data needs to be developed. Will you commit to initiating action to get an efficiency study conducted on the veteran health processes so services can be delivered in a more timely manner? Please elaborate on how you would envision pursuing this objective. Ginger.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, we all know from the GAO report that the data that they're collecting now is junk. It is not properly collected, and they actually admit that in that report. And that is just not okay. That is not okay with me. You do not deny a veteran services because somebody that's working in the data processing didn't collect the right amount of data. That is just not fair, and it is not right. Now, there are groups of data that are collected. There's a system called the VERA system, V-E-R-A, and that is the system that is used to every year adjust how much benefits are going to different parts of the country and to different parts of the budget. It's a $309 billion budget that goes out to all of our deserving veterans all across the nation and here on Guam. And so that's a lot of money, and you have to do a really good job looking at that data. So that VERA system, it has data. It has better data than is being used to calculate for Guam. So one of the first things that I would do is if you send me to Washington, I am going to get very seriously into that data and find out how do we collect the pieces of data that are going to be the most compelling, that will help us not to justify that we have a big enough number, but to actually accurately determine what is the value that is due to our veterans. Because you know those 59% that were denied those benefits to be able to travel, what are they going to do? Swim to Hawaii? That is not fair. Anybody else in a state can just drive to the next state to be able to get those services. So I'm saying you figure out data-wise, and I used to do this when I was working for the Pentagon. We worked in data. That was the gold mine, because that's how you convince people. You figure out what would be the total value if you were to give every veteran who deserves it the travel benefits that they would need to be able to go to Hawaii, to be able to get that service, and you calculate it up, I guarantee you that is going to be more than $6-7 million, probably even more than that. And that is more than enough money to justify a redirection. And instead of spending it all on travel, you have 100% of the veterans who deserve that service will either get that service on Guam. We can do a joint decision with the Veterans Region Center in Manila, figure out how we can get some services in Manila, because that's only a 3.5-hour flight, which is a whole lot easier than a 7-hour flight to Honolulu. So that's some of the ways that we're going to work on using data a whole lot better to get you what you need.
Thank you, Ginger. Jim.
Thank you. Data, absolutely. Again, it goes back to numbers. How do you get those numbers? You need to register, va.com. Go to the VA center, they'll assist you as well. My office can assist you too. They need accurate data. Is the data messed up just in the VA site? Now, with my experience with the administration as well, it affects all lines: public health, public education, the census. It's everywhere. So the administration and I are working together to ensure what I can do to help the government of Guam to get the data right. My job in Congress is to provide the services for money necessary to get this data, for resources necessary for that department to get this data. Not to put them at the end of their dollars and can't even do it because they're overworked, but it's to support them to gather the data, because I'm not the mathematician. I'm the congressman that's going to provide finances. That's my duty, to get accurate data. Beneficiary travel as well. It's messed up. You know, you can't even get into bases sometimes because they don't understand, because we had to re-register our caregiver. And it changes from base to base. That's administrative-wise. But we do talk to the admirals, we talk to the generals, and we say, look, our veterans are having some problems. Can you fix this? Come on. You know, you want us to defend the nation, and you can't take this guy just wants to go to his doctor's appointment. Fix this. Simple. Walk-ins. Walk-ins nationwide is a problem as well. Why? Because they don't have enough doctors. They don't have enough specialists. Even more so on Guam, because we're so far away. How do we get that? With accurate data. How do you do that? I'll provide the finances. You just make it work. But we can do one thing today, and that's by registering on va.com. And do you know somebody that has not gone to the CBOC to do that? Take them down. Go with your fellow veterans afterwards and go to coffee at McDonald's and Mighty with my buddies over there. Say, you know, I took down 2 people today. They signed up. Coffee's on me. But I truly say this is all we can really do right now in Guam. You're raising your voice really strong. I'm making it heard really strong. I got good friends. I got the VA chairman behind me. He's been here. He just needs to know more of the facts, and I can give them to him. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Next question. For veterans not currently registered at 100% disability, how are you able to help veterans that are service-connected, that are not 100%, access military installations on Guam using the Trusted Traveler Program or Trusted Visitor Program? Also, how can you assist in getting spouses on base without going to the Visitor Pass Center every time? Ginger?
Thank you for the question. Well, I think that the key to that is really having a great working relationship with the military, because those are decisions that are largely made by the commander at the various bases. So the commander of Andersen Air Force Base, the commander at Big Navy. I do know that they are looking very seriously at those regulations right now, because our veterans are having problems getting on base, and sometimes even the contractors and people who are part of the working crew who are trying to get things done and accomplished on base are having a difficult time, and it's causing causing a lot of problems for contractors that are losing money because they can't get their employees on base. That is a very local issue that needs to be decided at the local level, and the way to do that is to use the congressional office and to have meetings and to work collaboratively to ensure that we have a good dialogue and we can understand that what are all the ways that we can make it easier for our veterans to access the benefits that they deserve, because that is something that they have earned, and no one should be treated differently. A veteran is a veteran. If you served in Guam, if you served in California, you have the same exact benefits. So we will look at that. It is a matter of fairness, and we will make sure that our office, if you send me in, will do everything that we can to work with the base commanders to ensure that those rules are as easy as possible and provide fairness and access to all of our veterans and their families. Thank you.
Thank you, Ginger. Congressman?
Thank you. We're doing that today. As I mentioned, our constituents' concerns are VA issues. I've been down to base so many times talking with different folks. It's getting there. They're stubborn, right? It's military. Navy would say one thing, Air Force would say another thing because they say our missions are different. Fine. Just make it work for our veterans. I have monthly calls with Rear Admiral Hoffman, Joint Regional Micronesia Commander. Same time, he's on the phone with Rear Admiral DeVore, Joint Regional Marianas. These are the guys that's supposed to put all this together. And I said, look, we got a problem. Solve it. He's working on it too. It sounds silly that it's never done, but really it takes an act of Congress almost to get things done. We're not letting that go. HMI groups, I work closely with HMI group, and thank you for putting this together. They utilize my office, right? We exchange. They say, oh, you should go talk to this person. Oh, have the congressman help you out. Your DD 214 is wrong. Have him send a letter to make things right. Help him out. You got denied a claim. The congressman can help you out. We'll do our best. And if we don't get if we can't get the right answer, at least we'll let you know where we're at. At least you can give us a try. We were successful for many times. I got people in my office, regular callers that continue to do that. And it's just like, Congressman, can you fix this? Look, we're working at it. It's just very disappointing, unfortunately, but they got mission-driven issues that they had to deal with too. So there's a compromise that we have to go through. But we must register our person as a caregiver. There's another law coming on out that I'm co-sponsoring, reference to Family Leave Act, to modernize that too, to expand that Leave Act to include reservists, to include veterans, to include domestic partners, to include the children, your uncles, how we take care of our veterans on Guam in the household. It's just not that one person, and it shouldn't be limited, right? So there are more things coming out that I can't believe that we're going right now so fast with what we can do at this point. It's not over yet. It's just begun, and I got a lot more to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Like I said, these questions from this audience, tough. Okay. Next question. If elected or re-elected in 2 years, what is your 2-year plan of action that makes you any different? Ginger.
Thank you. That's a very good question. So the thing I think that is important is there's 2 things we have to think about. Number 1 is what you can accomplish in 2 years. But you also have to put your head up and you have to think about what is the goal long term. Because the things that are really important, the things that we really need to accomplish, like getting a regional benefits hub on Guam, getting regional healthcare here on Guam, I can tell you right now, I am a realist. It is going to take more than 2 years. So you also need to have a longer-term plan. And that longer-term plan needs to be transparent. It needs to be developed in coordination with the local government, with organizations like HMI, with the veterans on Guam, with the VFW, with the American Legion, with all of the different veterans organizations. You need to open up a dialogue. You need to understand what is the longer range view that you want. Like, what do we want in 5 years? okay? And then once you've got that, then you start immediately applying the things that you can do first. So the first thing you do is not only introduce legislation, because I'll tell you right now, this past Congress, and again, this is no reflection on Congressman Moylan, I mean, they have passed the lowest number of bills in the history of Congress, pretty much, 78 bills in 2 years. That means a bill has almost zero chance of making it through. So you've got to get really creative. How do we put amendments on authorizations? How do we work with some of the authorizing committees to move things in, right? But part of that is having a plan. And so for those that are wondering about what we are going to do, I am in the process of updating Platform 2.0, which is the basis of that plan. But it's not about me. The first thing that I'm going to do is engage with the private sector, with the government sector, with all of the organizations on Guam, open up a dialogue, we all work together, and we prioritize the things that we need to do and the things that are achievable. And then lay out and report back to the people of Guam on a quarterly basis on all of those things we're going to do to achieve that. And the one thing that's fundamentally different is I really believe we can aim higher. I wonder, when I look at Guam right now, why we're not aiming higher. We need to ask for more, because when you take this moment in history where we are so fundamentally important to the U.S. as a strategic point, we have this opportunity, this window, to ask for the things that we need for our veterans on Guam. And that is what I want to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ginger. Congressman?
The dynamics of the 118th Congress is amazing. I thought I was experiencing something here, which my buddy Tony Atta over there will be experiencing once again, the dynamics of the Guam legislature. But when you get into Congress, man, it's just like totally blown, just incredible. But you know what? If they pass, and the Democrat Party has a lot to easily block. That's why measures weren't passed. The Senate is run by Democrats as well, and the president as well, right? So, but you know what? This non-voting delegate, I got my first measure passed. One of those few bills that got passed in the House is for you, the veterans. Deliver Veterans Act. It's regarding a grant money that you can now use not only to give adaptive vehicles to suit your needs, but to use that money, then that grant, to ship your vehicles to wherever you need to go. It's very hard to get a nice vehicle and then ship it to Guam. You pay $4,000, or Hawaii, or Alaska, or some rural place. But that measure was passed. Non-delegate, a freshman, because of the relationships that we have. Mike Post, Veterans Affairs Committee Chair, he moved that up on the floor before we recessed in October. Why? He had nothing to gain, but he wanted to do it for the people of Guam, for the veterans of Guam. Don't stop now and start from zero. The gear is in motion. Things are happening. We have good friends in Congress, and we continue to have that, and we're building the trust just like what you did when you were in your platoon, when you were in your battalion, when you were in your command, when you had a commander that you can trust. That's what Congress needs. That's what it's about. Madeline Berdallo had the opportunity to be a subcommittee chairman of the House of Armed Services. She didn't win her election. It would have been something that she was there, because your voices is stronger. Non-voting delegate in a territory with that opportunity, because we work really hard. The Republicans are in control now. The Republicans, I hope, will be as well. But it doesn't matter to me because I work across the board. I'm top 32 out of 400-some members of Congress because of my voting record, because of my committees, and because of my bipartisanship. Thank you.
Ginger,
Yes.
rebuttal?
Rebuttal, please, yes. So really quickly, and with all due respect, I'm very happy that the House passed H.R. 522. The Senate has not passed it yet. The President has not signed it. But I want to clarify very carefully. So assistive vehicles go to any veteran that qualifies, but there is a cap of $26,800 on how much you can get reimbursed. So the fact that they have added the ability to get reimbursed for shipping only applies if you on Guam can find an assistive vehicle that is lower than $26,800. And as I understand, most assistive vehicles cost way more than that. And the actual impact of that bill for every single veteran across the United States that qualifies is less than $1 million a year. And you know what's even more concerning is in order to raise the money to pay for that reimbursement of shipping, it raises the cost of the VA home loan in order to recoup the money. Because under the Republicans in the House, you have to show where you're going to get the money if you want to spend the money. So in order to get reimbursed for the shipping, as long as it's under that cap, they're going to take that money by keeping those VA home loan fees higher. So just to understand, that is HR 522, and you really need to look at the fine print sometimes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ginger. Congressman, you wanted a rebuttal time?
Thank you. There's no money involved in this. I know that because that's what the Republican Party wants to do. You want to put something in the budget? Well, find $50 million. Find $1 billion. Find it. Take it from someplace. You can't do that? Forget it. This is the start. Whatever is left over in that grant, and it depends upon the disability. Maybe you just need an extension on the clutch. I don't know. Right? It depends on the disability of the veteran. It could be as low as $18,000. It could be as high as $80,000. We just started with this. It's a win. You want a Cadillac? Well, you know, why not just take it one piece at a time? How do you need an elephant? One piece at a time. I'm just not saying that because I'm a Republican, but you do one thing at a time. And you build that trust, and then you move it up. There's inflation. There's other costs. That grant needs to increase. But look what he's done. And you know what? We made friends in Alaska. The Senate's going to pass it because they got the version. I talked to the senator out here that was just here and wants to pass it and move it forward. It's going to pass. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question from the audience. The VA is planning to lease a whole building next to GMRC to provide more and better care for our veterans. How will you be able to, or how do you plan to help them achieve and expedite this plan? Ginger?
Thank you very much. Well, I think that is very good news, and I think that is definitely a start for our veterans. One of the challenges that they are going to have is they're going to need to staff that, because if you put a building there, it doesn't mean that our veterans are going to be able to get that service. And so we're going to have to make sure that we work collaboratively in two distinct areas. The first is going to be immigration, because I'll tell you what, they have a really difficult time staffing these VA offices and trying to get doctors and nurses to come here from the mainland. That's why there's so many openings. That's why sometimes you'll be working with a doctor, and then the doctor will leave, and then you have to go to another doctor. So we've got to find creative ways to not only get the doctors we can from the mainland, but also create immigration opportunities so that we can get doctors from the Philippines, doctors from Korea to come in here, especially in specialization areas, to provide that support to our veterans. The second thing that we need to do is we need to assist with the State Board of Medical Examiners, because they work with the Guam Board of Medical Examiners in order to give those certifications. So if we're going to be using doctors and nurses from the Philippines, they have to be able to practice here on Guam. It's all about the details. So there's a lot of details, and it sounds nice that they're going to be able to lease more space. But you know, there's space all the time. We have space up in our skilled nursing facility right now on Guam, and we need some of that space for our veterans who have long-term health care needs. There's 60 beds there now, and they're only using 20 beds. And you know why? Because they can't get the staff in order to man those beds. So it's not just good enough to get the building. We have to look comprehensively at these issues, because if we're going to take care of our veterans, we have to get into the details. So one of the things that I am very committed to doing is looking at our immigration regulations, specifically when it comes to health care. Because when it comes to health care, if we have a single unified approach, there's only 170,000 of us on the island. And let's put the veterans aside for the moment. We all need those healthcare specializations. So if we all work together, we coordinate between the military, the veterans, and the government of Guam, and we find a way to bring in those specialties, especially the specialties that are needed by our veterans, then that is one of the ways that I believe I could concretely contribute to more success of that facility once it actually goes up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ginger. Congressman?
Thank you. The CBOC expanding over there to GRMC, that beautiful looking building. I was just there a few days ago. Talked to the older building, understand what's going on. Mike Bose, the chairman of Veterans Affairs right now, knows of this too, funded it. He was here, he saw this stuff. This is good. It may not be perfect, but it's a start. And this is what we have to do. Nurses, professionals, doctors, specialists, across the nation, it's a bad situation. But I was successful with my team for the H-2B workers to come to Guam for the construction projects going on. We extended it from 1 year to a 5-year period, and in my next term, I'm going to make that 10 years because we wouldn't know what to do. But we need those doctors, we need those specialists, we need the nurses here too at GMH and at the Vet Center and at GRMC as well. How do you do that? H-2B workers. We can do it for construction. We can make sure that the military also knows that they're going to utilize that facility as well. The veterans, most importantly, will utilize that facility as well. We need to do what's right. I can get that through the help of my colleagues, the relationships that I built, and the longevity that you need so people can trust you and believe in what you're doing so you can represent the island right. I'm a vet. I want to be behind you all the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Okay, this is the last question from the audience. I know there were a bunch of great questions, but in the interest of time, we had to pick a few of them out. Okay, sorry. So the last question. Will you commit to petitioning the VA and Tri-West to open an office on Guam and directly credential medical providers who are interested in providing care to our veterans and allow our veterans the choice of their community care provider? Ginger?
Thank you. I think that's a wonderful idea. You know, and as we're looking at expanding the support that can be provided to our veterans at Naval Hospital, that's for more serious, for inpatient, for those types of things. But I absolutely believe where we can find joint use, where we can find ways to take our clinics, our local doctors who are providing support to the citizens of Guam and get those accessible by the veterans underneath the veterans' health benefits, I think that is a win-win for everybody on Guam. I think we need to do that. I certainly think that is a good idea because, again, what we're talking about is we only have a population of 170,000 people, and there are so many different kinds of ailments that people have that we don't have enough demand for some of the specialties that are really needed by our veterans. And so the more that we can collaborate and the more that we can work to certify people to not only help veterans within the veteran system and get them reimbursed, but then have those same people, maybe there's not enough veterans to take them full time and to keep them here on the island. But if we're supporting local doctors, people who practice on our island at all of our clinics, and be able to make that work for our veterans at the same time, again, that is something that will help all of the people of Guam, and I am absolutely in favor of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Ginger. Congressman?
Thank you. I will petition, I will advocate, I will jump up and down with my friends in Congress to make sure Guam gets everything they deserve for our veterans here. We got more soldiers coming, we got more of our children that are going to join and that are going to become veterans as well. We're doing this for the future. We're doing this for our survivors, yes, but more importantly, we're also doing this for our future vets. So they will want to fight for Guam and stay on Guam, and to promote our military, and to uplift our community, and to be in the parades, and just to love being on Guam and and the patriotism that we have. Medical providers are wonderful. We desperately need them, and they really help out for now. We know we need a regional office. We know we need a medical center. We know we need the numbers to show what must be done. It's important that we continue those numbers. It's important that we bring our friends down to register at the CBOC or VA.com. It's important. You can build it, but they still got to go and register. Why would they build it? The money is needed across the nation. There's only so much in the pot that is not mandatory spending. And the House of Armed Services takes the biggest part of that money. And first NDAA, second NDA, it is Guam-centric because I listen, because my team listens, because we want to do right. That's about it. Thanks.
Thank you, Congressman. How, as candidates, can you detail how you will advocate for improvements in the Guam's VA healthcare infrastructure and veterans support services?
That's a little bit like question number 2, but I will go ahead and tackle that. So the first thing is this issue of veterans healthcare overall. And I've really thought a lot about this because if we start to divide the 3 groups that are needing healthcare on our island, the active duty military that come into our island, they need healthcare. All of the people that live outside the fence, the contractors, and our local population, our local people, need health care. And our veteran community needs health care. And as they talk about it in the States, it's called the color of money, right? So the VA will give certain amount of appropriations to help in one area, and then there's different kinds of money. We don't need to divide that. We need to find creative ways that we can create healthcare capacity that will help our veterans. At the same time, it is helping active duty military and is also helping the broader population of the people of Guam. Because if there are not a sufficient number of patients, then we are not going to be able to get the budget or entice doctors with the specialties that we need to come out here to Guam. And you know when that happens? Our veterans leave the island and they're not able to be here with their family, with their children, with their grandchildren. I talk to so many veterans who are, I see them, they message me on Facebook or I talk to them over the phone. They want to move back to Guam, but we've got to find a way to expand the types of healthcare that we can provide, to open it up so that we can use the capabilities that are going on in the Philippines, because we've already done that. We've already found a way to make healthcare insurance on Guam for the government of Guam and many others to work in the Philippines. And we've got to find ways to also make that work for our veterans. So the Veterans Affairs Regional Center in the Philippines is renewed every couple of years. When it was first created, it used to be renewed 10 years at a time. Now it's being renewed every year. It expires in September of next year. So that gives us a wonderful opportunity to figure out how can we work together and figure out how we can find a bunch of different ways to not only bring more support services for our veterans here on Guam and make it available through the Naval Hospital, through local clinics, and with agreements, especially for mental health, with the Guam Behavioral Health Center. We want to make more of that available and have it all paid by the Veterans Administration. And then look at those specialties. If we can get that service in the Philippines or it's closer, we want to be able to do that so families can go with them and support them. And then, of course, when it's serious, still be able to fly them to the States so they can get the best care possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ginger. Congressman?
There are a lot of volunteer groups, nonprofit groups that are really important to us right now. HMI, for example. There's also a group called West Care. Through our intent and our work, we were able to get West Care close to $1 million, 900-something thousand, for homeless vets. because they approached us, they told us what they needed. It's a community project fund. The money is there. It's because we work with these organizations to help. Department of Defense, Department of Veterans Affairs, before we closed off in session, we included that in the continuing resolution so the federal government doesn't crash down, but to include the agreement to continue so they can perform the study, what we need to have a medical center here on Guam. Regional office, absolutely. There's so much more that can be done, but we each need to do our part, and we each have to register. If you know somebody that hasn't, we need to register them too. There's more that can be done. And because my team works so good with these agencies, because our doors are open for veterans, our #1 constituent base is that. With all the issues that we're more than happy to help with, if we can't get the answer, we're going to make sure we can do the best we can. We have great success stories. Maybe one of them can share with you, because there's some of them are in the audience as well. But it's so, our growth on the island with the amount of military buildup is tremendous. But we have to do what's right for the island of Guam, for our natural resources, for our roads, for our infrastructure, but also, and most importantly, of why we're here tonight, for you guys taking out your precious time, is to hear what the veterans most desperately need. I'm here to do that for you. I'm a vet. I feel your pain. I don't like it. My team doesn't like it. So we will continue to work until we can get this job done. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Did you want to? Oh, okay. Okay, so now it's come to, in interest of time, closing statements from each candidate. So what we would like you to highlight is summarize your commitments to the veterans, as well as highlight any key issues or things you will tackle for the veterans. 3 minutes each. Yes. Oh. I'm sorry. So we've already taken audience questions. Sorry, no. We're going to have the candidates, we'll have the candidates do their closing arguments.
I'll be happy to talk to you after.
Okay, Ginger, go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. So first of all, I would like to really thank Congressman Jim Moylan. He spent the last 2 years, and he's done work, and he's been in a very difficult Congress. And you know, one of the things about elections is it pits the two of us against each other, and it's always a challenge because, you know, we have to give you our perspectives, and sometimes it sounds kind of controversial. And believe me, none of it is personal. I respect him. I respect the work that he's done. I respect all of the work that he has tried to do with the Congress that is a very difficult Congress. And I am not taking anything away from him, and I thank him for his work on the Armed Services Committee and his commitment to the veterans, and I especially thank him for his service. I think the one thing, really, we vehemently agree that we need to do better for our veterans. I think the one thing that really distinguishes Congressman Moylan from me is I have the audacity to believe that I can be an agent for change for the people of Guam. And I'll tell you why I think that. The reason I think that is because I was actually blessed when I left Guam. Governor Carl Gutierrez was able to get me, I got a Deputy Assistant Secretary position in Housing and Urban Development, and then when 9/11 happened, and I knew I had to be a part of it, I became the Deputy Inspector General for Iraq Reconstruction. 8 of the most incredible years of my life. And during that time, The Congress created an agency from scratch, gave me a budget. I was the operations head of that, $35 million a year, and I was able to create an agency from scratch and actually put that together and figure out something that most people don't get the chance to do in the federal government. And so I saw a federal government that was not a box. It was not caging me in. I saw what you could do. I went to the Office of Management and Budget and argued for a budget. And when they told me no, I went back over to the Congress and I met with the senators, I met with the House of Representatives, officials that we were working with, convinced them that they needed to counter the White House and give us that budget. And when I thought it wasn't going to work, I got a friend of mine at the Washington Post to run an article. And you know, after that article ran, we got our budget. We stayed around for 8 years. I was able to do that, and as I did that, it opened my eyes. I believe we can do so much more for our veterans. Our fundamental disagreement is he wants to do it a little bit at a time. And you know what? Our veterans don't have time. You served. So many of you are at a certain age where if we don't provide that help now, you are going to have to make some hard decisions. Some of you may have to move off island because you're not going to be able to get that service. None of us are getting any younger. I'm going to be 60 years old next year. We don't have time to waste. And I'll tell you the other thing that happened. All the time that I was in Iraq, when those bullets missed me in the helicopter, when I was in the C-130 and we had one engine on fire and we had to decide, are we going to continue to Kuwait or are we going to go back to Baghdad? And you know what we did? We continued to Kuwait, and God bless those Air Force guys. They were like 24, 25 years old, and they just motored through, right? And we just crossed our hearts and said, we got to make it over there. But you know what that did? It made me fearless in a way. And I bet you the veterans out there can understand when I say I felt fearless, because you know what? When you make it through and you know that you're still alive and you can do so much more, all of a sudden, the barriers that were in front of you, the I can't do it, I'm not sure that they're going to let me, I'm just Guam, are they going to listen to me? It goes away. And I felt that if we don't fight and use every single ounce of ourselves to do it, that we're never going to achieve it. So all I'm asking you is, if you hear in me somebody that can be your voice, the voice of our veterans on Guam, in Washington, D.C., to fight with my friends in the Senate and all the new friends that I'm making in the House of Representatives, then please consider voting for me either early or on November 5th. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you, Ginger. Congressman?
So this is not my first rodeo. I've been through several elections, in the 35th and the 36th, and to this congressional twice now. I want to thank Ms. Cruz here for running. It takes a lot for somebody to run. I hope more people will run for Senate. I hope more people will run for elected office, mayor, whatever it is, step up. Not easy, but you know, somehow God put you in the right place at the right time and you decided to do it. But there are things that we're doing now that takes time. We are competing with the nation on a budget, expendable budget. It's not that large. We are in right committees that are getting the answers we need. We're getting the money we need. We can do more. Right now, we're trying to defend against the People's Republic of China, the Communist Party, and how they control and what they want to do. They're the aggressors. We are running fast to make sure we have that protection for the island of Guam. 360-degree missile defense system is important for our protection. I'm in these committees. In the meantime, I'm also working, not just campaigning, I'm also working. I'm the co-lead on an important bill that will adjust the Military Family Leave and Authorization Act to include reservists, to include veterans. That was introduced, that will probably continue on to the 119th Congress, but you had to keep on doing that. The opportunity to have the Deliver Vets Act for the disabilities and adjustments there necessary for the drive their cars. The percentage of that ability to do that is so small, especially with what's going on in Congress now. But election is coming up. Dynamics will probably change. The world is wondering what's going to happen, who's going to control the House, who's going to control the Senate, who is going to be the President of the United States. I think I'm in a good position because I worked across the board. I want my party to win because I believe in the principles. And by doing that, from House to Senate to President, what a fantastic position Guam will be in, because I'm known, because they trust me, because these folks can be the next leaders. In Congress, it's seniority. It's like a new job. You're going to walk in there and be the freshman, and you need to be loud, but you also have to say, you know, I got some seniors above me. It's like in Guam, respecto, right? So that's the spirit I bring back to D.C. with your strength. We had Department of Defense working with the VA Center on giving their land to plan for something, a medical center on Guam. It takes time. It takes study, it takes resources. It has to be done right. And it's up to us to make sure our numbers are right as well. Don't give up on that. It's important. It's important for you now, but it's more important for us in the future. Look, I look forward to serving you even harder than I did before. My team looks forward to you for putting us back in there because they believe in you. And we just hope you believe in us, because we're giving it our all. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as far as I can remember, this is the first time we've ever had a Veterans Forum. And as a veteran myself, it's important that we take the time to share our feelings, to listen to our candidates, and listen to what they plan to do. So having this tonight was a real opportunity for all of us to come out and be one entity addressing the problems that veterans are facing. And we can't stop here. We have to keep going. So on behalf of the Guam veteran community and HMI, I'd like to extend our sincere gratitude to all the veterans, the families who came tonight and who've joined us. Your presence and participation in this forum demonstrate our unwavering commitment to our island and its veterans. We also want to express our appreciation to the congressional candidates for taking the time to share their platforms and answer our questions and your questions. Your dedication to serving our veterans is truly commendable. As we move forward, let us continue to work together and ensure Guam's veterans receive the support, care, and recognition they so richly deserve. Thank you.
I'd also like to thank our sponsors. And this is being streamed live on The Point. So thank you to our listeners on The Point, 93.3 FM. The show was on Veterans with Benefits, which is Monday nights. Anthony and I are the hosts. So if you're not doing anything Monday nights, listen to us at 6 p.m. It's a Veterans with Benefits talk show. Before we leave, because I always like to say this, chaos erupts after this. So if we can have Team HMI come up here and take pictures with the candidates, that's Sue, Bill, Charlie, Dee, Bob, Chuck, Lee, Dave. Can we all come take pictures with the candidates before everyone tries to rush them? Because this is hosted by HMI. Can you take our Thank you.
Stay tuned. We're going to go to a break. You've been listening to 93.3 FM, KUSG, The Point. More Veterans with Benefits, and a small wrap-up when we return.
See Nissan Nissan Guam first. With affordable options like the stylish Nissan Versa sedan and the street-savvy Kicks crossover, you'll love the wallet-friendly fuel efficiency and the smart versatility. Available Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration makes sure you're always connected. With easy financing and low monthly payments, we make it easy to drive away in the perfect Nissan for you. Ask about our exclusive first-time buyers program. Stop by for a test drive and get pre-qualified for financing at NissanGuam.com today.
Get ready, Guam, for the 4th annual E Must Met Good competition. The strongest men and women on island will battle it out to see who's E Must Met Good. It'll be Sunday, November 3rd at the Epal Beach Park, presented by the Guam Army National Guard. The first event starts at noon. Come cheer on these strong athletes taking on 6 grueling events. This fun event is absolutely free to the public. That's you. Mark your calendar. Sunday, November 3rd at Epal Beach Park. Also brought to you by your friends at Choice Broadcasting. That's Star 101, Boss 104, and 93.3 The Point.
And we're back. Veterans with Benefits here on The Point, 93.3. So that was quite a showing, we understand. We heard it was standing room only.
That's amazing.
Yes. And
you guys really know how to pack a crowd.
Well,
pack a room
our
with a
veterans,
crowd.
Our veterans have been longing for these kinds of events. And, you know, how apropos in the year of the veteran.
Yeah, we got a lot of information from both candidates. One of course is the incumbent James Moylan, and the other candidate Ginger Cruz. Lots of information. I encourage everyone to go back and rewatch this discussion.
Yes,
both on HMI on YouTube, HMI, and then The Point also video on demand. You can watch this again or listen to it again.
Right, and this is us veterans coming together to talk about veterans issues, right? And bringing it to the forefront. I mean, we heard both of them talking about what they intend to do or what they're doing, and if you take a look at it, right, it still talks about, even though we're doing things, there's still so much more to be done. And even if they get started, let's just say it happens to be Ginger, she's still going to need to do a lot of work. It doesn't matter who goes in there. We are still not getting everything we need as veterans here on our island. And it really takes all of us, and maybe not just going to register, right? And on one end, they said, we shouldn't have to talk about the numbers. We should have the services. And whatever the case might be, it's still up to us to get out there and see what is there. If we're just sitting around waiting for something to happen, we're going to be doing what everybody else is doing.
I think my biggest suggestion or take coming from this is both candidates were correct.
Yes.
It does take time. You do need the numbers, but you also need to have intention and push.
Yes.
And I think both of them are not wrong, but I think if they got together, this would be an awesome push, because it's not. It really, we're small.
Yes,
our island is small, and we are among the big wigs over there in Washington. If we're asking for money from them, we do have to be louder, but we also have to do it so that we're not irritating the big guys.
Well, and I have to share that we've been we're part of the Armed Forces Committee in the Chamber of Commerce, and when we go there, we speak directly to the leadership. So we had an opportunity to speak to Admiral Huffman, to Admiral DeVore, so we're speaking to all these people that are in charge. We talked to the folks up at the Marine Corps base. So there's no message coming from any of them that we shouldn't do things as veterans.
Yeah, and it's not going to be solely on the delegate themselves. It's going to take the veterans, it's going to take the veterans' families, and it's going to take cooperation with that office to get that message across.
Yes, and to get to where we're at today, right, just required us to do things, do little things. Everybody looks at HMI and they wonder, why do they keep doing all these things? Who's helping them? Where are they getting their money? Everything we get and we do comes from us being inclusive of all our veterans, all our organizations, and we tell them, hey, this is the information. This is what we're doing. How do we do this? How can you help? How can we move forward? And we take things that exist, because right now we have veterans benefits that our veterans locally aren't even being assisted with. But I have to share with you, the more we push that, the more they become a number where they don't just have to go register, but they start getting the benefit. And that is huge. And by doing that, that'll get us the things that our veterans need and get them involved and continue to do the good things that we do. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you again next week, 6 to 7 here on The Point, 93.3, Biba Veterans.
The Point is KUSG, Hagåtña, Guam, 93.3 FM and 104.3 HD3.
A deadly Hezbollah attack in Israel. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News. Was a drone strike that hit a military base in central Israel.
This morning, Defense Minister Yoav Gallant visited the army base where those 4 soldiers were killed. This is the deadliest strike launched by Hezbollah since Israel's ground invasion began 2 weeks ago. On top of the 4 killed, 7 soldiers are severely wounded after the direct drone hit. Dozens more have injuries.
That's Fox's Nate Foy in Tel Aviv. As Israel keeps battling Hezbollah inside Lebanon, the U.S. is offering more air defense, sending a missile defense battery to Israel and American troops to help operate it for more protection from ballistic missiles like Iran fired into Israel almost 2 weeks ago.
Meanwhile, another bloody weekend in Gaza. The Hamas-run health authority says 22 were killed, including 15 kids, in an Israeli attack on a school being used as a shelter. Israel has previously accused Hamas of using civilian facilities as military bases.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. The number of deaths blamed on Hurricane Milton in Florida is up to 21. Helene killed more than 10 times that. President Biden toured some of the damage in Tampa and St. Petersburg.
There's much more to do. We're going to do everything we can to get power back in your homes, not only helping you recover, but to help you build back stronger.
There are still more than 400,000 power outages. Former President Trump's been critical of the federal response to Helene's devastation, which some Democrats call misinformation. Vice President Harris said while campaigning in storm-damaged North Carolina.
In times like this, we stand together as one nation.
The former president campaigned in another toss-up state, Arizona.
I will defend the Second Amendment, protect religious liberty, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections.
Now, a man arrested at a Trump rally Saturday in California for having guns in an unregistered car has been released. The U.S. Attorney's Office there says the former president was never in danger. America's listening to Fox News.
The world of business moves fast. Stay on top of it with the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday. Fox Business reporters, anchors, and hosts will bring you beneath the stock market speculation and boardroom drama to tell you about the biggest business stories of today. Whether you're on Main Street or Wall Street, Fox Business is invested in you.
Listen to the Fox Business Rundown every Monday and Friday at foxbusinesspodcasts.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts. Interesting people are talking to Will Kane.
I said, what do I call you? I call you Dwayne. I call you The Rock. He said,